I'm Davey Wavey, creator of Himeros.tv, and today I am joined by sex coach Finn Deerhart. And today we're talking about gay sex, and in particular, the ecstatic joy of butt plugs. So lube that hole and let's get started. Himeros Live is sponsored by Himeros.tv, the erotic website to enhance your experience of sex and sexuality. Created by Davey Wavey, that's me, we upload erotic videos to help you have better sex. And then we discuss them on this podcast. Membership is as little as 50 cents per day at Himeros.tv. Himeros.tv, it's like porn.
But better.
But better. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Finn, how are you?
I'm doing amazingly.
Amazingly.
Amazing. I always say I'm doing good. I'm doing great.
It's amazing.
It's a great day.
Well, I'm feeling a little sore.
TBH.
TBH. Yeah, because, I did my homework. I did my homework. We're talking about butt plugs. The video is titled Butt Plug Ecstasy.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not going to do this podcast unprepared.
Okay, well, is it in still?
I was just going to ask you the same question.
Is that why you're sore?
Yeah. I was going to save this for later, but we do have a special guest today.
Oh, wow. It's like still lubed up.
It's still lubed. For those of you who are not watching the video version of this podcast, it's pretty greasy.
Yeah.
Is yours still inside you?
Like a slipping hazard. No, actually.
It's not.
You have classic. It's a classic looking butt plug that you have there.
Yeah, it's actually it's got a lot of heft to it. But it is. There's no frills. This is not one of the remote control ones, which was in today's video. We'll get to all that. We're gonna do adventures in prostate land. But as I mentioned, this week's video is titled Butt Plug Ecstasy, and it features the bootylicious Bo Reed. It is a guided butt plug experience for people to try at home. And the idea behind this video, at least as I interpreted it, was for people to kind of expand beyond the typical ejaculatory orgasms that we're used to having. If you do want to see the video and you're not yet a Himeros.tv member, you can still watch a free preview. It's like 30 or 40 seconds, but it's worth seeing just because of Bo's butt. Can we take a moment to discuss his butt?
Go ahead. Yeah.
I really wish Matt was here this week because Matt really likes big butts. And this was a big butt.
It was.
Did it do anything for you?
It's really attractive. I like it. I mean, it wasn't. I am not like just fetishizing it like Matt was talking about. But yeah, I love butts. So I love seeing a guy. You know what it is for me though, to see him with his legs up in the air and I love a hot guy with his legs in the air and being shamelessly playing with his ass is really hot to me. So that's what I was really zeroing in on, was just like, oh my God, I love how he's got his legs spread and he's just having fun with it. And
yeah. And he looks like a lumberjack. So like you would see him, I think he physically embodies what a lot of us would interpret as like masculinity. And so it's fun to see someone that embodies that, being so joyful about playing with his butt and not having hangups around it.
Totally. Yeah, I like that, like the contrast, like you were saying about the lumber sexual look with like his legs up in the air and moving around. Yeah.
Bo is very clear. It's funny when we work with models, they oftentimes make their like he was like, I only bottom. Like that's what I do. That's what I enjoy. And it's actually, I mean, I really appreciate knowing that because then we weave that into the scene. So we do something that's authentic. And this was really authentic to his enjoyment.
Was it a little bit new for him? Did he express any like, oh, wow, this is new for me to do this? Or
no, not at all. Yeah. He was very seasoned, I think. I was going to say though about his butt, there's like an opening shot where the camera kind of like pans down his back and there's just these two, there's almost like a geology to it. Like it's almost like a like landscape, like a mountain of ass that just like comes into frame. Like this man does not skip leg day. Like this is serious. So it was hot. Anyway, so the video, it opens with before you see the butt, there's actually this like opening shot of the butt plug and a voiceover of me saying, believe it or not, this is a tantric tool. At which point, as soon as I say it, the butt plug, it starts to, it's not even that it vibrates. It almost oscillates, or like it wags.
Levitates.
It's magic. I don't know. How do you describe it?
Vibration. Yeah.
It's not though, because it's not just shaking. It's like, it's like moving inside of itself. It's so funny though when it happens in the video and it's like spinning across the screen. Like every time I watch it, my wig is just gone. Like every single time. This butt plug also is remote controlled.
That's awesome. I've not had that experience actually.
You haven't done the remote.
Oh,
I'd
love to.
Have you done other remote control toys or not at all?
Not remote controls.
Well, yeah, I
know.
I haven't, to be fair, I haven't, I did a video with Blake Mitchell a few months ago, who's been in a few of our videos, and we had like, they're kind of butt plugs, but they were really small, maybe like 2 inches. And he had my remote and I had his. We actually used you could use a remote, but there's also like an app on your phone, which you're supposed to use like over long distances. And while I was interviewing him, we were like stimulating each other. So if like he was giving some answer that was like really deep, I would just like turn up the speed and he would just lose it. And,
I saw that video. Yeah.
Okay.
That's awesome.
But I've never done something like full size, like a butt plug, remote controlled or not. So today when I did this to the video, I mean, we can get into this in a minute, but that was my first time with the butt plug. So
nice.
Something I want to talk about is the voiceover says that you can use butt plugs to access deeper orgasmic experiences. That's really where I want to start this conversation because Brad Amberhart, he's one of the tantra coaches that we work with. He wrote this. And I'm assuming that he's pointing to thinking beyond ejaculatory orgasms that most of us experience. But
totally.
I mean, how do you interpret that?
Yeah, definitely non-ejaculatory orgasms or also ejaculatory orgasms with a bigger release of energy that accompany that.
So, I mean, for people that are listening, like, what is that? What's an ejaculatory orgasm? What are the other kinds of orgasms? Like what?
Well, yeah, orgasm in relation are separate physiological events. And orgasm will trigger ejaculation, but they're really close together. So we have been our whole lives just, whacking off and coming, especially as kids when we first started in a hurry. And we have to recondition ourselves to have a non-ejaculatory orgasm if we want to learn how to do that. But any of us can learn how to increase the sensation of our orgasms just by learning to let go more and relax more and open up other parts of the body that might be like clenching down and holding back.
Yeah. So as I understand it, I mean, we did a video. We're totally having like a big rainstorm here. I don't know if you can hear it.
It's so romantic.
It is. Yeah, as long as I don't lose power and then everything's going to go to shit.
Well, you have a lubed up butt plug.
That's true. Yeah. I'm ready to go. So we did a video a while ago about full body orgasms. And it was exactly that, what you're saying. It was like separating orgasm and ejaculation. And then we did another video with like chakra orgasms. I think that this butt plug video speaks to prostate orgasms. And it's funny because as much content as we've made about like this world is all still very new to me. And I think it's easy to forget that like, I don't really have the experience, and a lot of the stuff I'm experiencing for the first time, like in real time, along with the audience and along with the content. And a few months ago, I was playing around with a guy and he was fingering me, which I've done before, but there was something different in that, like, I almost felt like I was getting into a trance. Like it was almost like hypnotic. Like I started to feel myself like let go, and I wanted like more fingers and more pressure. Like I didn't want him to stop, and I was jerking off. And so I'm like saying this to him, and puts in another finger. And I mean, I honestly don't even remember the exact logistics of it, but all I remember is that it felt incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And I came, and typically, this is like so much more information than like anyone ever wants to know about my sex, but typically I'm not like
whatever.
Typically I'm not a shooter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I just kind of like, it just kind of, oozes out or whatever. But girl, like I shot up my chest and my face. Like I shot far. Yeah. And afterwards I was like vibrating and like shaking and like quivering. And I was like, holy fuck. Like I just had, like, that's what people are talking about. Like that was like a prostate orgasm. I mean, it was ejaculatory as well, but like, like it was like much more intense.
Yeah. And it comes from like a deeper place in the male anatomy, like just energetically and topographically, like you mentioned, topographically on the body. Yeah.
Well, what's also weird though is like I've been fucked before, obviously, and like I've come while being fucked, but it didn't feel like that. And I don't know if the difference was that he was actually like, I don't even know if he realized he was like hitting my prostate, but like sometimes when you're getting fucked, like sure your prostate's being rubbed, but I think he was actually like I'm like gesturing wildly for those of you not watching the video, but like I think he was like tapping my prostate, or it was just very it was different than being fucked.
Well, also too, it could be a connection with what your mind is like. I mean, orgasm, it starts in the mind. So when our brain takes in information from whatever's happening to us physically or emotionally, whatever we think is happening to us, that's what creates the triggers of events that, the sensation is guiding us there, but our brain is doing it. So, not being like hyper focused on one part of your body can open up orgasmic feelings. You can feel, I mean, have you ever had your neck like just like devoured, like kissed and licked and sucked on, and it felt like you could actually almost come from that? Sometimes I've had that happen, or like sucking dick too. Like when I suck my partner's dick, like sometimes just like in my throat, it's because what I love about it emotionally so much. I feel like I could just like start coming from my chest or something. Like it's emotional and it feels really intense.
I've had that from my nipples, I think, like from my nipples and like maybe my feet. But for people that are like at home, like, oh shit, like that sounds really awesome. Like how do I like, I remember working with a tantra coach that said to us, he's like, I can make people orgasmic so that like you touch their hands and they like, and they orgasm. And I just remember feeling like aggravated, like, well, I don't feel that. Like, that makes it really inaccessible to me. Like how, like these amazing things that we're talking about, like how is it that people can be put on a path towards experiencing that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I want people to experience that. I think that one, if I were to give a little step-by-step, it's like slow down, like way down, so that in real time you can process and be honestly with what's happening for you sexually. So if whether that's amazing or if that's like you're not enjoying it or whatever, just being really present. And not clenching your body and just like relaxing. Because when we have the best sex, it's usually when we're really, really relaxed. And so that creates a condition inside us to feel really turned on. So that like, it's, I kind of think like if we're pressuring our bodies and pressuring ourselves, like, down and clenching a lot, we don't make a lot of space inside us for sensation to build. So just slowing down and relaxing more.
Yeah. Yeah. And that could be why, like now that I've kind of been practicing what we're seeing in these videos each week is like I am slowing down. I'm breathing. I'm making sounds. I'm saying what it is that I want. I'm expressing that to my partner.
Yeah.
That maybe it's pointing me in that direction. Bubble Dragon, by the way, in the chat room, because we have a live chat that accompanies our video feed, wants to know who this gorgeous man is. His name is Finn Deerhart from FinnDeerhart.com.
Thank you very much.
Have you had a prostate orgasm before?
Yeah.
Tell me a story.
Yeah, actually, when getting fucked, and just being stimulated there, and I just started playing with my cock at the very, very end, and it didn't feel like it was coming from, the orgasm wasn't coming from my cock. It was coming from like my cock root. and inside down like in my pelvis. And it was really an intense, like an altered consciousness, I'd say. I mean, I feel like I would say that like about all sexual states that we go into, you know, like we go into an altered consciousness. But yeah, it was like I was in a dream. It wasn't just like, you know, there's a difference in that and just like whacking off and wanting to get off really fast. And, you know, it feels really good to shoot and to come, but that's a different experience in the body than allowing the energy to come from somewhere else.
Is it possible to have like those kind of experiences, like what we're describing in like a hookup situation, or does it require like working with a partner?
It can be from a hookup too. Cause it's all like I think that's an awesome question too, because it's always us, like all of sex starts and ends with myself and yourself and whoever we are. Even the collective like ideas that we all share with our culture and with our friends, those ideas are all things that we innately feel in our own selves. And so that's why everybody's kink is so different. I mean, we can connect with other people that share those same things, but everybody has their own mental frameworks around sex. So when we end up in a hookup situation where we're really, really turned on, good chemistry is created not just by random chance. It's like, it might be random that we found it, but what's creating that chemistry like underneath the surface for us is that we are so excited because whatever that person is doing or exhibiting from their character is exactly what we personally need in our own selves to not feel ashamed, to not feel held back or inhibited. And so we just like open the floodgates and all this like exciting energy comes out and we feel really honest, right? So that's sometimes that can be really easy to do with a hookup and harder to do with a partner because our partners know us and, you know, it's like, we might want to hold back because we're afraid that we were going to get rejected or something if we just act like our total dirty selves. But it's just different for everyone, you know, like in a partnership where both or more people want to work on inhibitions together and can learn how to do amazing things together. You know, there's just some work that is best in a partnership and some work people learn on their own. It's just kind of wherever the person is at on their individual journey, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting that so I'm going to be doing a YouTube video that has like a tantric or a sex teaching from different sex coaches and tantric instructors. And each different instructor that we work with is going to submit like one of their tips or pieces of advice. And one of the instructors got back to me today and he said that sex is all about like having better sex, having awesome sex is all about you.
Totally.
And yeah, I think that's a powerful teaching. So, I mean, I guess on that note, so when we did this, when I practiced for this video, I wanted to follow along at home. So as I mentioned, I brought out this very large butt plug. You know, when you see those like memes that it's like it's supposed to look.
Wait, so say that again. It just cut out just a little bit.
Yeah, you know when you see like memes and it's like real life versus how it's like so I'm like watching this beautiful video of like Bo with his like feet in the air and this like he's breathing, he's relaxed, he's got this like, you know, butt plug gyrating in his ass, and I'm like, I've got this like big giant butt plug, and I'm like trying to get it in, and like I think it was too big for me, so I'm like trying to breathe and I'm like trying to relax, but it's like popping out, so I'm like straddling my office chair, like trying to use the chair to like get the butt plug inside me, and it keeps popping out,
falling off the bed.
God damn it, like it probably looked and sounded like I was like going into labor for anyone that was like walking by my condo. So
well, thank you for sharing that. That's awesome.
You know, and it's just to say that like maybe it's a relatable moment for people at home when they try it and they don't get the same results as they see on the video, but
yes,
you might not get it on the first try.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of awesome that you shared that because, like we were saying a second ago, how to enjoy more and experience more, not taking yourself so seriously, you know, just having fun. Like, oh God, it's not like the model. Well, yeah. And
yeah. Well, and I think I need to size down first of all, and
yeah.
that will make a big difference. And I think I need to try it. Like keep trying with it. Like you might not get it on the first try. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither may my ecstatic butt plug orgasm be.
Yeah. You know, like I had this, so like the butt plug that I have, I couldn't get it fully in my ass.
Like at all, ever? Or
no, like I couldn't get, I mean, I could get part of it in, but not the entire thing. And it's not like it's gargantuan or anything. I don't know what, like, yeah, it was difficult. I had to stop at a certain point and just like ride that space.
So did you do it to this video, or you just mean
No,
in general?
in general, I didn't do it along with the video. No.
So why not, like, because the whole point of a butt plug, this was what was frustrating me, is that like once it gets over this
Right.
big part, it's supposed to ideally stay inside.
Right.
Like I was thinking, and I've never used this before. I was thinking like, okay, I could put it in me and then go to Whole Foods and get my organic raspberries on sale this week, 2 for $5. But like I would have shit it out like like as soon as I got off the car, like as soon as I got out of the car. So that's been your experience. You don't have a butt plug that you've successfully kept kind of inside you.
Not like that.
And maybe I shouldn't even say success, because it's like
I know, I'm like, it was successful. It felt good.
Yeah.
where I stopped.
Okay. I mean, I did ejaculate with this inside me, but
I am curious though now after all this talk. I'm like, well, I want to go to Whole Foods and buy raspberries with my with my butt plug in.
Yeah, I think there's something really fun and hot about having this like dirty little secret that like
I do too.
Like you've got a butt plug in, or your partner does, and you know he does, and you're like out and about, and like because I mean, even though this one might have been a little bit too big for me, like it's still even when it's not going in and out, like it's still stimulating to have that there. Like it's still, maybe it's psychological. It's, you know, every time you move your legs, it kind of like rubs against your prostate a little bit. It's definitely hot.
Moving around. I like it.
Yeah.
Or going out dancing with it.
Yeah.
I wonder now. I'm like, there have to be lots of butt plugs going around me that I don't know about.
Don't you wonder that? Like, how many people around us have some little secret, you know?
Oh, everybody has those. That fascinates me, actually.
Yeah. Well, you're the one that wrote "Cummy Undies," and that was having your partner come in your underwear and then wear it all day.
Totally. Like I love, like if I have my partner's come to me and I go somewhere, just the idea, like what you're saying about just knowing that it's inside me while I'm doing my thing, and you know, maybe having a conversation with somebody. It's awesome.
Until you have to fart and then
yeah. No.
Don't
you just love it though when it all disappears and you're like, well, how did that? My body took everything.
Yeah, that's how you get pregnant, girl. Careful. Is he gonna pay child support? I don't know. So in the video, towards the end, Bo comes, and also I thought was really cool is just as he's about to ejaculate, he lets go of his dick. So he does this like hands-free ejaculation. That was not my experience trying to work this thing, and I had too much going on, but something to work up to, I guess. All right. Any more thoughts about butt plug ecstasy before we get into the questions?
I have no thoughts.
I would say just go watch it. Like, even if it's just to see those 2 Christmas hams of Bo's ass, like just go watch the preview. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, totally.
All right. So we have some questions from folks at home. Question number 1. I am an older gay guy and I want to have a long-term relationship with a guy my own age. However, I have trouble eroticizing guys my age. What advice do you have? I've got nothing. I also struggle with this. Like, I'm generally attracted to guys that are younger than me, and not that I'm an older gay guy. I'm 35, but I often think about that. Like, as I get older, am I always just going to be attracted to like 20-year-olds, or will that shift over time? But is this something that like comes up for guys like in some of your workshops? Totally,
it is, and I think all of our desires are. They can be molded and changed over time or evolve. it's important to remember that what turns us on the most is like a conditioning element, right? It's not right or wrong. It's just that we've been conditioned in a certain kind of way, and something about, and I'm speaking to the writer, something about the youth that you're seeing is really exciting to you and gives you permission to feel super excited. So that can grow over time, you know, like what we find to be super exciting, like it can include that and include much more. So it's just about exposure, and maybe starting with like just looking into how you feel about your own self and your aging process, and just kind of unpacking the emotional content around youth and age and all that can help kind of shift some things. And I've seen that happen for men before.
Yeah, it's not an easy solution. Like that takes time and effort, and maybe like
Yeah.
some guidance. Also, I think like there's also a lot of us kind of get into these feedback loops of like, if I'm into twinks, then I start watching twink porn, and you kind of, that's what's hot and that's what you're jerking off to.
It reinforces it. Yeah.
Yeah. That, I mean, I just today I added a new category to Himeros TV called mature, because we've done quite a few videos with older guys, like 50s plus. I mean, one of the models is 83. And they're really hot videos that like are totally erotic. And I think incorporating some of that into your self-pleasure practice could also start to plant those seeds.
Yes. And, you know, like, let's say you're dating someone more your age and just communicating with him about that. And maybe that's something y'all can share together that helps bridge, you know, it's like called triangulating, or it opens up like a conversation. And say you're dating a guy and you want to play with a younger guy together. You see each other in that space. It's just like a fun way to bring in all the possible options out there and try to bring that into relationship as well, instead of thinking of it like it's either or.
You know, I had a conversation with Brad Amberhart about this not too long ago, because he works with guys and has lovers. He literally is like, I can transcend like age, race, sometimes even gender. Like he really, if someone shows up and wants to have ecstatic, like joyful sex, like he's life-giving sex, like he's on board, you know. He doesn't care the form that it takes, the body type, like he really just doesn't have the hangups that a lot of us have. And while I'm not that evolved, he mentioned to me, you know, he's like, if you like, there are a number of gay men that I'm friends with that are older, and you know, if I did feel a connection, he's like, you also can think of it like the intimacy and the connection can take other forms than just fucking each other. That like maybe it just means you like take a nap together, or you cuddle together, and you can kind of like lean into it. And if that feels good, then maybe try cuddling naked, or you know, that there's which is a little bit more accessible, I think, than like for some people.
I agree. And I love that. So the therapist Esther Perel talks a lot about bringing in the third, and just that as an idea. And what that just means in a general sense is like, whatever doesn't exist between me and my partner still exists, like whatever turns us on, whatever we used to do, whatever. So it's like, how do we bring in this whole level of what turns us on into our relationship, or, you know, help create space in a relationship to experience that. And I just think that's a really cool exploration. So it's not like you have to lose that excitement. If you're dating somebody, you can just construct something that really makes everybody happy.
Yes. Question number 2. I hear guys talking about being multi-orgasmic, but I'm exhausted after I come and not horny. What's the secret? I think a lot of us are probably exhausted most of the time exhausted after we come. But I think this speaks to like what we were talking about earlier, which is that when you're talking about being multi-orgasmic, that's different than being multi-ejaculatory, I guess the expression might be. So I think, you know, with practice, learning to separate orgasm from ejaculation. And I think when guys are saying I'm being multi-orgasmic, probably a lot of them are talking about having orgasms without ejaculating, something that women, by the way, are really good at.
Totally.
And we have a lot to learn. But also you can be multi-ejaculatory. And I got an email this week from a guy that like didn't realize that was a possibility, he said, until like much later in life. And when he did, he's like, it was like learning about sex all over again. He's like, I didn't realize that like I could go again. And sometimes it means giving yourself a hot second, taking a nap, relaxing, kind of riding that wave, and then letting it build back up again.
Totally.
And he said it feels even better like the second time, the third time. I remember coming 7 times once in one night. I was like, dust was probably coming out after the 7th time, but it was hot. I don't know.
Yeah, it is hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I back up what you're saying. I agree. It is different. Some people are there. I think there are a few people that are just multi-ejaculatory in one moment, like to be really quick about that. But that is true. Some people can, but typically it is multi-orgasmic is the experience of knowing where your edge is. It's like the point of no return where you're going to go ahead and shoot your load versus like riding the wave. And if you like put your sexual desire on a ramp from like 1 to 10, if you're like hanging out at like a 6 and then a 7 and then backing off and just going where you are on that hill, and then hanging out around your top peak for a while, and you start to have orgasmic experiences that don't make you shoot your load. And then, you just stay excited because you haven't triggered the response in your body that makes you want to just go to sleep.
So homework for everyone at home.
Totally.
Our last question today is, why do gay men prefer hookups to actual connections? And I was not aware that they were mutually exclusive. Like,
it's kind of the way it's worded. It's very fixed, but it's
a bitter queen. Let's say it. Let's call it what it is.
Well, it can be true. Like some gay men might prefer that to connection, but some gay men might actually experience connection in hookups.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I do. Like I most of the sex that I've had in the last 10 years has probably been from hookups, but like some of those have been incredibly connected and passionate and deep and intimate.
Yeah. It's just like, there's a lot, to think about in that question. Sometimes it is true. And I mean, our culture has a lot of shame around sex, and specifically gay men have a lot of shame around it and a lot of inhibitions and fears and damage that we've acquired. So it is easy to hook up with strangers because there's no skin involved there's skin involved, but there's no like, oh, this person, if I just don't see him again, who fucking cares? And it really just, you can feel really excited and not inhibited. And then with someone that you're connected with, it's, again, I think we talked about this earlier, it's scary because like, oh, maybe I'll be rejected and I really love him and I don't want him to think I'm too much or whatever comes up. And then that's challenging. So with a stranger, you don't really have to encounter that. You can kind of just curate your experience and feel the pleasure of it, at least a certain kind of pleasure.
Yeah. And I do think we have some sort of evolutionary, like biological programming in us of like spreading your seed. Obviously we're not spreading our seed in fertile fields, but I do think there is some inclination in us to like at least for myself, some sort of like natural programming that I feel to want to have experiences with different partners and
novelty.
There's an intensity to like the newness. Like there's a lot of reasons why I think a hookup can be appealing, but what I don't think is true is that you can't have an actual connection in it. And I think it depends, like how much of yourself are you willing to show up with when you have a hookup? Like how vulnerable are you willing to make yourself? How authentic do you want to be? And I think in those instances where I do those things, like I have really great, actual, genuine connections, even if I never do see the guy again.
Totally. I think we had mentioned this earlier today that, the sex starts in your mind. So, situation A, I'm feeling overwhelmed emotionally and I want to just check out. And so I reach out to hooking up because that's real easy for me and I can soothe myself that way. Well, I might not have a fully, excited, embodied experience in that moment because I wouldn't be coming from a place of like excitement and joy. But let's say I'm feeling really good in my life and I just want to celebrate my eroticism. That would be a little bit more, of a celebratory experience. It's about where I'm at in myself. Yeah.
For folks at home, we answer these questions each week. If you have any questions that you would like answered, please send them to me. It's Davey at daveywavey.tv, DAVEY at DAVEYWAVEY.tv. So we'd love to answer them. It's really fun to tackle your questions and call you a bitter queen.
I do love the questions.
Yeah, it's my favorite part. All right. So we're coming up on the end of our podcast. Next week, We will talk about revealing your insecurities for hotter sex and deeper connections in a video titled The Reveal. In the meantime, make sure you join us on himeros.tv. It's HIMEROS.tv. Thanks, Finn. Where can people find you?
Look me up at finndeerhart.com, FINNDERHART.com.
Awesome. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, more to come.